Just be you two. So I'm gonna start recording and we will just jump. Oh, we have Madison. Just all M's. Okay, well, I'm gonna just jump into this. And oh wait, I did not share my screen. Did I? No. This. Okay. All right. Now can you guys see that? Okay, perfect. So paper number 2 is the family theory analysis. So the purpose is to gain a deeper understanding of a selected theory by applying its principles to a functional family. So pretty easy. Lots of times this is people's favorite paper to write. It's really fun. So you're going to choose a family that has at least 2 parents and 2 children, and then you'll choose either family systems theory, symbolic interaction, or family life course theory, and analyze that family through the lens of whatever theory that you choose. And it's just anything from a book, a TV show, or movie. Can't be like historical unless it's like a movie, like Sound of Music is okay, but you couldn't just like Google like George Washington's family, you know? So, okay. So, first thing, the introduction. Like the last paper, you'll have your thesis and make sure that that goes at the end of the introduction. As I've been grading, I've been seeing some that's like sprinkled throughout the introduction. So that should be the last sentence. And when you say like in this paper, I will like analyze the incredible family through the life course systems or life course theory to better understand them. So you don't want to just say like, I will analyze this family. Like the purpose of this family is to analyze this. Sorry, my words are everywhere. The purpose of this paper is to analyze this family. Like you want to tell me why you're doing what you're doing. And then the main components of the theory. So throughout the paper, you can assume that we as TAs like know what you're talking about and you don't have to explain everything, but we do want 2 to 3 sentences in the introduction that explains the basics of the theory. So you don't want it to be like, this theory is really great because it's going to help us understand the family better, and it talks about like subsystems, and so we're going to be able to really understand the sibling dynamic. Like the only thing I explained about the theory in that is the term subsystems. So it should be like, this theory focuses on boundaries and roles, and like very straightforward, only about the theory. And then you'll describe the family similarly to how you described your family in this last paper. And then your analysis. So for your headers, it'll go, the first header is the title of the paper, and then the next header you'll have will be analysis. So the introduction and family description will all go under that first header. So you'll have analysis, and then the next header will be conclusion. So this paper is really simple on headers. So your analysis, you're just going to go through and obviously analyze your family through the lens of this theory. So when it says integration of the terms and how they relate to the family, we want to see that you guys understand the theory enough that you can combine several terms into each paragraph. And I'm going to give you guys some examples of that at the very end in case people that are watching this don't care. So they can just end watching. But yeah, so you're going to want to be able to integrate several terms together. Okay, and you should use at least 6 terms. And I'm fairly certain that on the detailed instruction sheet for each theory, there's a list of terms you guys can use. And we want you guys to use terms from that list. The first time you use it, bold it, but you don't have to bold it any other time. That's just for us to be able to easily count. You used 6. And you don't have to like really explain what the term is or anything. Like assume that we know what you're talking about, which hopefully we do, but you can come from it from that angle that we know what you are saying. A few minutes ago. My sister is very confused about what I'm doing. Okay, and then your paper should be 5 to 6 pages long, so 4 to 5 of analysis, 1 of a title page. And Dr. Erickson let you guys have an extra page on this last paper, but for this one, we are gonna stick to the 4 to 5 pages of analysis. If you guys reference, like any sort of reference to your family, you don't have to cite it unless you put in a direct quote from something that they say, then you'll need to cite it and have a references page. Any other sort of just paraphrasing or background information does not need to be cited for this paper or any information from the class. Okay, so talking more about the analysis paragraph. So the structure, this is the structure that just helps it work the best and have the most like cohesiveness. You don't have to do every single one like this, but I would highly recommend doing them like this because this will make it the easiest for you to write and the easiest for me to grade. So you'll start with the specific term, like the Incredibles have a subsystem of Jack and Violet, or not Jack, Dash and Violet. And then a specific example, and you want to keep this brief, like two sentences, maybe 3 if you really gotta explain some stuff. But something else I've noticed as I've been grading is a lot of people will say like for this one, they'll say like, the weakness in our family was poor communication and we never were able to really explain what our feelings were and we just never talked to each other. An example of this would be, but that whole thing that I just said, that can be your example. So it doesn't have to be like a specific time. It can be just the general, like, I don't know, the general gist of what the strength or term is, or it can be something specific, but choose one or the other. Don't have both in there because that's just going to draw out your example. And then for your specific outcome, make sure that you say specifically what the outcome is at the start of when you talk about outcomes. Because some people will write, this had a really positive outcome on the family, which is really good, but I need to know exactly what the outcome was. Like, really positive outcome in that they were able to rely on each other better, or whatever it is. And then your analysis of how or why, which is going to be, it should be about half of your paragraph. This is where the bulk of your points come from as we grade. So this is like the really important part. And so to help you get started, something that you guys can do is take your example, take your outcome, and ask yourself, how did this happen and why did this happen? What's the connection between the two? I've also noticed as I've been grading that a lot of people are analyzing their outcomes and saying how the outcome affected them and why the outcome affected them, which is analysis, but we want to analyze how the outcome came to be and why it's important for your family. So as always, a good indicator that you're doing analysis is if you're using the word because and explaining what is happening and how. So, and I'm always happy to look over your papers in advance. Like if you want to send me a paragraph or something and I can see how your analysis is doing. But the best tool for doing good analysis will be checking the feedback on paper number 1. And those grades will be available on Wednesday morning or Tuesday at midnight if you are ready to see your grade. So you can read the feedback. And then yes, examples of paragraphs are on the detailed instructions sheet. And then your conclusion, pretty basic, just cover what happened. Do make them closer to like 3 to 5 sentences and not 2 to 3 because it should be substantial enough that I get a review of everything that was talked about and like a final takeaway from your paper. But don't stress too much about that. And then okay, this is just a review of the APA format. So we want it to be straightforward and to the point, which often means like no analogies in addition to no rhetorical questions, just very academic. Every sentence has a very clear purpose. Don't add fluff or anything like that. And then answering the how and why is the biggest thing that you guys will want to be doing. Okay. And then let me I actually didn't look at this slideshow before I did this, so we will go into this. Okay, so it says, the Morris family has an explicit goal of surviving the hurricane. An example of this goal was when everyone in the family wrote, "I will survive" on their backpacks. This explicit goal unified the family. It caused each one of them to take on hard challenges and come through stronger. So right there, you'll see this, that is the specific outcome. So you don't always have to say like the outcome was, because this one just says it caused, but a very explicit. And then it says this happened because as they strove for their goal as a family, they had opportunities to talk together and share their personal families.
Bye, have fun.
So that's the how that's going on. And then the more they talked together, the more unified they became. And that is the why. Okay, so that's a good example. The bad example is the Morris family had a goal to survive the awful hurricane that brought so much devastation to their hometown. So right off the bat, you can see that sentence is so much longer than the one in the first example. Like that has extra fluff in it. This whole paragraph has a lot of fluff, but as the hurricane ravaged through their city, it brought much destruction and loss. The Morrises needed to fight for their lives. They needed to survive. I think they did a lot together before, but this was the ultimate test of their family strength. As a family, they all wrote on their matching emergency bags that they would survive this catastrophe. This brought them closer together. So as you can see, what this paragraph did is it only explained what was happening, what the family did, and then the only kind of bit of analysis is this brought them closer together, but that is when we need to know the how and why. So really what we would want is to take out this whole middle section and start with this brought them closer together and then explain how. So that's that how and the why the outcome has come to be. Okay, and obviously I'm here, I have my office hours. You guys, I'm happy to meet with you outside of office hours if there's a better time, or email me specific questions about your paper or like a paragraph and ask what the analysis is like and see how it goes for the rest of the paper. Oh, look, here it is. Example questions you can ask. Yes, ask specific things like, can you look at this one specific paragraph to see if the analysis is deep enough? Not, can you look over this? Or sometimes last semester, I would get a paper that said, can you tell me if the analysis is deep enough? Which I could, but I wasn't going to do that for the whole entire paper. Like, ask me a paragraph or something more specific. And then, yes, please don't wait until the day it's due or the day before. But actually, no one really did that. Like, if you have small questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. And if it's between like you getting help and you not, then please still reach out to me, even if it's late. Just know that you probably won't get as good as feedback because I'm trying to do it fast. But the sooner you can reach out to me, the better. Okay, and then the late work policy, just to review on that. All assignments are to be submitted on Learning Suite by 11:59, and you have a 1 week where it's -10, and then after that week, it is, I think, 5, an additional 5 for every day that it's late. So for sure, if it's going to be late, get it in that 1 week window. And good luck. This paper is due, I believe, on the 26th. So you guys still have quite a bit of time to work on it and ask for any feedback or anything. Okay, before I give an example paragraph, are there any questions on anything so far?
I actually do have one question.
Okay.
So you say it needs to be a family with 2 parents. Do both of the parents need to be like play a large part in the story? Like for example, like the Little Women family, like there is a dad, but he's not in the story very much. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm not very familiar with Little Women, but I would say like if you can like make the absence noteworthy, like if you can pull that into your analysis and say like, because the dad wasn't around very much, it caused these additional problems. Like as long as you're analyzing
Okay.
all the different roles, I think it's okay. I'm gonna say that it's okay. It's just we don't want a completely like absent figure that we don't even talk about fatherhood or
No,
motherhood or
yeah.
whatever
Okay,
at
that
all.
makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to give you a really quick example of a paragraph that includes several different terms in it. And I'm actually really quick going to find my paper from last semester or 2 semesters ago because, well, you can't use the family that I use because it doesn't have 2 parents. So I did Cinderella for mine and I used the life course theory. And so just an example of talking about just like multiple terms in one paragraph would be something along the lines of, following her father's death, Lady Tremaine used her agency to treat Cinderella as more of a servant than a daughter, and this decision was supported by both of Lady Tremaine's daughters as well. And this would later turn to be very detrimental to the family because of the principle of linked lives. When Cinderella had the life change or the life, what is the term? Life trajectory moment. I can't remember the term. You guys know what I'm talking about. She had that life turning trajectory moment. It affected her life, and she was then able to, her sisters and stepsisters and stepmother were not able to benefit from her new advantages because of the way that they had treated her previously. Okay, so that was not a good paragraph. I mostly just said that off the top of my head, but that's the idea of it, of having multiple terms that are interacting with each other to show that you really understand how the different things play into each other. So you'll want to use probably around like 2 to 3 terms in each one of your paragraphs to show that level of complexity. Okay, any final questions? That example probably did not make a whole lot of sense, but that was a half-baked attempt to show you guys how to do that. Anything I can clear up or anything else you want to talk about? I'm here for a very long time. Okay, then I'm gonna stop recording and